if x is not equal to 0, then the square root of x squared all over x is equal to what? So this is a good piece of information to know, because it's not something that might come up in all of the Gmat guides, or certainly won't be a big part of the focus. But what is the square root of x squared? It is not equal to x. So do not make that mistake. Now, if it were equal to x, this whole thing here would be x over x, and it would be equal to 1, and you would choose C, and it would probably take you 10 seconds, and it wouldn't be that big a deal, because you would probably be pretty confident you got that right, so you wouldn't be, this question would not be lingering in your head as you continued. But it still would have been wrong. The answer here is not C, because the square root of x squared is not equal to x. So what is it? And so you can just memorize this if you want, or you can actually understand it, and you don't have to memorize it. Or I should say, then you're entitled to memorizing it once you understand it. So let's say I have an x, and x is equal to 3. And so then I was to take the square root of x squared, which would be the square root of 3 squared, which would be the square root of 9, which would be equal to 3. So in this case, it is true. The square root of x squared is equal to x, because the square root of 3 squared is equal to 3. However, what if I were to say x is equal to negative 3? So then I would have the square root of negative 3 squared, which is also 9. And which is also equal to 3. However, in this case, the square root of x squared is equal to negative 3, because positive 3 is negative 3, or I should say the square root of x squared is equal to negative x, because positive 3 is negative 3. So when x is positive, so if they were to say if x is greater than 0, then what is the value of the square root of x squared over x? Then you could say the answer would be 1, because the square root of x squared would be equal to x. However, when x is negative, that is not true. When x is negative, the square root of x squared is actually equal to negative x, even though negative x in this case is positive 3. I know it's a bit confusing. Take the time to go through it once slowly, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So what does this mean? Can we have a single generic formula for the square root of x squared, or equation? So that means the square root of x squared is actually equal to the absolute value of x. And if you know this, so this accounts for both of these two scenarios when x is both greater than 0 and less than 0. And if you know that, because you've just committed it to memory, you just can say, okay, square root of x squared, that's absolute value of x all over x, and that is answer choice E. And this question would take 5 seconds, and you would get it right, unlike this situation.